What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blue Collar Crypto Show. My name is Joe, and I'm going to be your host, better known as Dr. Biteball. And all the financial pundits, they told us Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Bitcoin isn't backed by anything. What is intrinsic value? Let's look it up. Intrinsic value. The intrinsic value is the actual value of a company or an asset based on an underlying perception of its true value, including all aspects of the business in terms of both tangible and intangible factors. This value may or may not be the same as the current market value. Are normal people supposed to understand that? I'm not a high academic, but that doesn't make enough sense to satisfy me. So now I have to sit here and make a decision. Either I think about it or I start reading about it. Usually, people would just go read about it. I'm not one of those people. So, intrinsic value. Well, what is value? I guess something that has a demand behind it. If there is enough general consensus and demand across society and it's stable, then that could be intrinsic value. Now, for example, air is the most valuable thing. If we don't have it, we die. There is an insatiable, general, stable consensus of demand with regard to air. Unfortunately, we can't own air. We can't hedge our bets against air, but it is a representation of something that is intrinsically valuable. But people often talk about intrinsic value. They talk about gold, and to me, this makes no sense. I mean, okay, gold was just it was something that had a lot of value in a lot of different cultures in the world, and okay, that's going to be our base of intrinsic value. What's so special about gold? Meaning utility, couldn't we use just about anything with a finite supply? Possible, I suppose. And that's the case for Bitcoin. And that it's unique data. It's digital. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be on the network. The network's not going away, folks. So if you can own a unique piece of this network that also has a utility for cultures all around the world being used by millions, if not billions of people, then why couldn't Bitcoin be a store of so-called intrinsic value, right? An asset based on the underlying perception of its true value, including all aspects of the business. So what does that mean? Everyone's collective perception regarding the value of Bitcoin, which at this point fluctuates wildly, but in the future could stabilize, including all aspects of the business. And this is the problem with Bitcoin temporarily, is there is not a lot of utility in business. It's a lot of speculation and holding and confidence that the technology will become something later. When Bitcoin and crypto finds its utility in society, it can be used as an instrument of intrinsic value. It'll happen. Enough people will use it. So to me, I think these arguments about Bitcoin having no intrinsic value are a little short-sighted. Maybe Bitcoin doesn't have intrinsic value, but the entire crypto space, maybe Bitcoin is the first prototype of technology that'll change the world. And when in history has the first prototype and the final prototype? Never happens. So it's sort of an interesting concept to think about because it's a bit mind-blowing. Because after all, gold is a space worth about $7 trillion. And if Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, just as a store of value, can offer the same utility as gold, then why couldn't it eventually rise to an equal market share? Eventually. You have to factor in how society in the future is going to perceive cryptocurrency as opposed to gold. There's a lot of old folks still around, people. There's a lot of baby boomers and people who grew up without the internet and psychologically have trouble seeing a piece of data as something of tangible value. It's kind of like, it's a generation gap, I guess. And In 30 years, these people will be on their deathbed, unfortunately, and the people investing are the kids who are 12 years old now. So for a 12-year-old in 20 years, Bitcoin will be just as real as a gold bar is to someone who's a baby boomer. And that's what we really need to consider here is then if you factor in the increased utility of cryptocurrency, why wouldn't that space be worth more than gold? You understand? So as a long-term bet, cryptocurrency looks like a great position. I can't tell you when the waves in the market, exactly when they're going to happen, or which projects are going to do really well. That's beyond all of us. But I think we can take an honest look at society. We can take an honest look at the market and see this stuff does have an intrinsic value. Maybe small now, or maybe not yet, but it will. That's the whole point.